Alright guys, so I'm here with my Saturday Night Live audition, and I've just prepared 2 jokes for you today. So, I mean, the first joke, I think it's pretty funny. Pretty much... But I think the second joke is even funnier. And that joke is the Reaper Scythe. Hello random people on the internet, my name is Banana, and today we're talking about the Reaper Scythe. I feel like I've talked about this in a couple different videos, or at least I've had it in a bunch of different videos. If you guys have been a fan of the channel for a while, you know I'm a big Revenant guy. You know, I like fighting me some Revenant bosses, I like grinding up some scythes. I've gotten 3 blades to drop, and my first blade drop was actually, it was pretty intense for me. I don't think that you can do a tier 4 rev with 3/4 strong tarantula helmet. Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy shit! Let's fucking go! Let's go! Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! Bro! Let's go! Let's go! Yes! Yes! Yeah, so I had this Reaper Scythe, and I also had bought another one before that, and you can watch the video, and you can see in the outro, I actually have this little line. I don't know if you can see it. Let's zoom in right there. Boom. If it does not get buffed, I will off myself. Well, this thing never got buffed. I mean, it's gotten changed a couple times, but the Reaper Scythe has been a really bad weapon for a really long time, which honestly sucks because there was a point in the game where everyone honestly thought that this would be the best weapon in the game because of how good it was when it came out. But how was it better when it came out, you may be asking, if you're a newer player? Well, basically, if you look at the ability on the Reaper Scythe, it has the ability Desecration, which is whenever you kill an enemy, you can basically summon a zombie minion that's going to copy 30% of your stats. So this is really good. 30% of your stats is awesome when you look at it and you see that there is actually 5 of them that you can have, and you can have up to 10 of them if you have a Reaper mask on. But when this came out, it was 100% of your stats. This thing used to be really, really good, and it was honestly the best weapon in the game when it came out. There was only a few people that had it. I have a video on my channel of Wax Muffin using it because he was one of the few people who actually had gotten a drop really early on. And you can see that it just destroyed this magma boss, and that was back when everyone was full-on noob. No one had good weapons, and this thing was in contention to be better than the Midas Sword. But what happened? Well, basically, the admins were like, okay, so this thing is really good. Having 5 different mobs that all have your stats running around the map is a bit too OP, and we are not looking forward to having to balance this sort of thing in dungeons. So we're gonna nerf it, and nerf it they did. They brought it down to 30% of your stats. They just destroyed this weapon. They mutilated it. They said, we're not just nerfing it, we are straight up taking it out of the game pretty much. No one used the scythe, and they said, when Dungeons comes out, maybe we'll look at it again because it could be a really bad weapon we'll only see once Dungeons releases. So, little known fact for everyone, Dungeons is out. And this thing still has not been touched. I have a max one here. It has Dragon Hunter 5, Crit 6, Sharp 6, and this thing's just terrible. The only change that we have recently seen to the Scythe is the fact that the zombies got changed a lot. And by that I mean they got changed from being full-size zombies to baby zombies. What a huge change for the game. So these guys still suck, and the weapon still sucks, and I'm just going to compare it to a couple things. For one, the Reaper Falchion. To craft a Reaper Scythe, you need a total of 3 Reaper Falchions. So you would think, you would hope that the Scythe is better than the Reaper Falchion. Well, you can see Scythe, 25,000 damage, and then this is 53,000 damage. 53,000, 25,000. Now, as far as I can tell, with my very basic learnings in math class from high school, 53,000 is a fair amount more than 25,000. And this thing isn't even that maxed. It doesn't have a lot of the enchants that this thing does. And I mean, You need 3 of them to craft a Reaper Scythe. Hypixel, what? The next thing I want to talk about is the fact that this thing has a 150 mana cost. Now, from a mage perspective, I look at this and I think, oh wow, that's not a high mana cost at all. I could put Ultimate Wise on there and just pop it and do loads of damage with it. But the thing is, this is not a mage weapon. A mage weapon is based on doing damage based on your intel. So you can see a Spirit Scepter doing more damage based on how much mana I have. Same with the Ice Spray Wand, the Voodoo Doll, the Pigman Sword ability. All of these are doing more damage, and I'm using my mana effectively because I'm doing more damage based on having more mana. So it just works out. It's synergistic there. But something like the Reaper Scythe is I'd say a berserker or a tank weapon more so. Because this thing, sure, it uses mana to spawn things in, but if you have a mana-based build, you're going to be doing no damage with this thing, as it is copying your stats. So it's going to be doing 30% of whatever damage you're doing. So if you're doing no physical damage, nothing with like a good sword or with a lot of crit damage, your zombies are going to be pretty much useless, rendering you useless as well, because if you're using this as your main weapon, it's going to be pretty bad. So there's basically 2 options here. You can either put Ultimate Wise on this and make it worse as a main weapon, which makes sense from a mana saving perspective, but then you have to run another sword anyways, and if you're running another sword, I don't really get what the point of the Reaper Scythe is. And running something like Combo would just be way better on a main sword. Or you can run that mana build that I was talking about and just take the hit on your damage. You're going to be doing less damage by yourself, less crit chance overall, and you're just overall going to be less effective in melee, but at least you can spam your scythe. So my next point, they did try and fix. They tried to fix this by making the zombies babies, but these zombies are really annoying. So if I try and hit this guy, you can see that I cannot hit him through my baby zombie. You can see the hitbox is going as high as a normal zombie would pretty much, even though it's a little baby. I literally cannot hit a lot of things through these zombies, which makes it obnoxious because you're going to lose a lot of damage per second without having your own hits in here. Sure, these zombies are going to be doing a lot of damage, and if you have 5 of them, they should technically be doing more damage than you per hit when it comes to them all hitting at the same time. But if you aren't able to hit, you're losing out on some lifesteal there, you're losing out on the ability to proc Thunderlord, you're losing out on so many things. And if you have 5, even 10 of these with a Reaper Mask, it is going to be obnoxious to hit something like a Shadow Assassin, like literally any mob in the game. These are just annoyances that are there. So also, these guys are going to get stuck everywhere. They're going to run around in circles, they're going to be chickens with their heads cut off sometimes, and just get stuck on blocks. I'm trying to get one stuck right now. You can see that that one over there is legit just running around in a circle. He finally found his way over here. But they get really confused as to what they want to do sometimes. And ever since they're babies, they're just so quick that it gets really annoying to try and send them onto a specific mob. So these baby zombies are just pretty aids. But why am I talking about this right now? Why am I bringing up the fact that the Reaper Scythe is bad months and months after its nerf? Everyone knows it's bad. Why am I talking about it? Basically, enough is enough. The Reaper Scythe has been bad for so long because it got nerfed, and sure, it was a little OP back then. It was probably the best weapon in the game, and if they didn't want it to be the best weapon in the game, nerfing it makes sense. But mutilating it and nerfing its stats by 70%, that doesn't make sense at all. This weapon is just awful compared to the other Slayer weapons. You look at something like the Overflux Orb, which has no direct comparison in the game, no competition. It is one of the most overpowered items in the game. They have not touched that since its release. The Mosquito Bow, they buffed that. They made it better so that it could compare with other bows like Runins and stuff. They made the Mosquito Bow an actually usable weapon. And then you have the Scythe, which they mutilated once and have not done anything with since. If this thing was basically just a Reaper Falchion with a Desecration ability, it would be an amazing weapon. And I think a lot more people would be using it. People would actually buy Scythe Blades. You pretty much have to pay people to take Scythe Blades off you because of how worthless this thing is. And, I mean, if they just made the stats a little higher on it without adding all the Reaper Falchion stuff, like the 200% more damage and the 20% less damage from zombies when you're holding it, if they just went into here and made the stats like 50% or something, see how that is, maybe it could be a better weapon then. I don't know. This thing has gone untouched for far too long. I was hoping Dungeons would fix it. I was hoping Slayer would fix it. Seems like nothing is inevitably going to just come and save the Reaper Scythe from being a terrible weapon. But maybe if a lot of people actually say, this thing is terrible, please buff it, they might fix it. I really hope that the admins do something to make this weapon worth going for, because you have to spend a lot of time to try and get this drop yourself. It took me like 690,000 Revenant XP to get my own, and I never use this thing. It's literally just taken up a spot in a chest. Not even my ender chest. It's literally just in a chest on my island because it's that bad. So raid the forums. Hashtag fix the Reaper Scythe. Don't actually raid the forums. The admins will take away my YouTube rank for spamming them and ruining their days by making them take down millions of posts of people saying fix the Reaper Scythe. But please do go down in the comments below and say what you would do to fix the Reaper Scythe, because I think this weapon could use a lot of love, and I'm sure a lot of other people would love to see this weapon do good. So hopefully we can spread the word and get something done to fix this amazing weapon.